Start recording. Good morning. Happy Friday. Friday already. God, the time flies, doesn't it? Come on in. Welcome to the SHAC. Yeah, it really does. It seems to be the older you get, the faster the time flies. Don't you find? Can you hear me okay? Paul, I know that you're in the building with our good friends. Just let me know that the sound is okay. I've got a feeling that there's a button I've forgotten to press and I don't know which one it is. Yeah, otherwise, this is our last day on the riverbank with the Kingfishers. So we're going to do the background. I thought I'd show you a couple of tricks with the water. And then on Monday, we're going to go on a bus trip again. A little doodle bus trip. And I was lying in bed this morning thinking about it, and I've got just the place. Yes, it'll be lovely. The bus trip will be the gig, okay? The actual little tour, because it's safe in the bus, isn't it? In the SHAC bus. So here we are, 2 minutes to 10, and we're on our postcards. So these are the postcards that we use. Yeah, right, and we're on the Kingfisher one. So we've had a good time with this one, and this one's in the blue set. I love these. I tell you what, they've certainly improved our colouring game, haven't they? And that's the thing. If you're new to the SHAC and you think, oh, I'd really like to learn how to colour some of these in, we take it in actual time. It's not fast forwarded. We talk as we go. And if you go back on YouTube and on the playlist, whenever there are colouring sessions, we ought to make a little catalogue. Do you know what, Paul? Let's make a little catalogue. You know, because when you look, where's that folder? You know, that might be a really good idea, a colouring catalogue, so that our good friends know exactly if they want to do the, so there's not that many of them. It wouldn't take long to put together a colouring catalogue. So you want to go to learn how to do the owls, then go to episode number la. And when you want to learn how to do the watercolour parakeets, then it's episode la. Don't you think that'd be a good idea? You know, maybe one of our friends in the SHAC would do it for us. It just means going through the playlist on YouTube and then just writing it out and emailing it to me, and then we can drop it into the website. That might be a really nice thing to do. Hands up who'd do that for me. Anybody? Tell Paul. And then you got the job. Never say I can't delegate. Right. So, and if you haven't got the postcards, good idea to get them. And because every month or so we come back to them. You know, I'm a big believer in not repetition. It's not repetition because it's a different picture every time, but it's that rolling the dice again, going again, trying again, going again, trying again, you know, and that's why, you know, and this isn't a sales pitch, but even if you've got a second set of postcards, if you've got one and we're slowly using them all up, perhaps you want to get a second one and try again. Do those owls that you did the first time again, because that's the way to improve your game. Definitely, if you want to get good at colouring. Anyway, just my opinion, and opinions are like noses, everybody's got one. So today we're going to finish up with our Kingfishers. Are you all ready? Come on in then. Anybody there apart from me? Good morning, good morning. There they are. Oh, good. Good. Lovely. It's fascinating to how this SHAC works, isn't it? Oh, I've just found one of my cups. I wondered where they'd all gone. Yeah, you know, it's a fabulous community, and it was born out of a desperate situation, which hasn't gone away yet, but it's less desperate. And now we're feeling the benefits of it. So let's have a look at this is what I wanted to do with you today. Do you like? I thought I'd show you how to make some water. Yeah? So I've got the water there. and the riverbank. So do you remember on Wednesday we looked at the trees? Let's go up a bit closer. On Wednesday we took a look at those trees, didn't we? And we got that gritty, leafy look. And now I thought we'd have a look at the water, right up close look. So how do we do that? And also the green, the bank, and well, we're doing the riverbank. So all the rushes along the edge here, yeah? So I thought we'd focus on this area today, because it's not hard. It's just a process, like most things. It's just a sequence. And if you get the sequence right, it's easy. And if you get the sequence wrong, it doesn't work. Okay? So, let's have a look. Marion, grüß dich. Schön, dass du da bist. Hello, Hilda. Einen schönen guten Morgen für dich. Yeah, Marion. Hilda speaks perfect German, just so you know, but you obviously know that. Right, come on then, my friends. Let's get started. Right, quick sip of tea. I'm feeling all patriotic this week. Big funeral tomorrow. So I think we'll have a day off tomorrow. Mark of respects and all that. You know, the day you bury the Queen's husband, I think it's time to just take your foot off the pedal and reflect. Great man. I never met him. I met him, well, I saw him going past in the car and we all waved like lunatics outside the Crowborough. Do you remember at the retreat? We did, didn't we? He came in a helicopter and landed, Prince Philip we're talking about. He landed on the rugby field, didn't he? And then there we were doing our retreat in the rugby club. Woohoo! I don't think he expected us all to pile out. So that was really fabulous. But yeah, what a fascinating man, you know. What an iconic ambassador. Right, so tomorrow it's the funeral at 3 o'clock apparently. Small intimate affair, given the circumstances. And I shall be there, certainly in spirit. So what I thought we would do is the water. And what do we need for the water? Right, so we'll start, this is where we're going to start with the water. It's a little trick, it's a little sequence trick. So if we go to the pergoliners, right, this is where they really come into play, because you've got the aquas up to here, the watercolour pencils, and then we've got the B pencils. So the difference, for those of you who are not sure, A for aqua, these are water soluble. B for blending pencils, these are wax / oil based. These are waxy pencils, so they create a seal or a block, if you like. That's what we've been using here, is the B pencils. And then we went in with the A pencils just to show the difference, didn't we? Do you remember? So what we'll do now is let's do the water. Let's have a go. Okay. And what we need, I'm just going to put these to one side for the minute, and I'm leaving it quite open so you can see what I'm doing here, just to show you. What I want you to do is forget the A pencils and just focus on the B pencils for now. Now, one of the things that I've found when I get, because they're same colours, is look, white, black, blue, right? If you just cover that up, then you won't go into the wrong end of the pencil box, okay? Because we need the B ones. We need the resist, let's call them resist pencils. And what we're going to do, we'll do the water first, and you'll see if I get on tight on the water, let it focus. See all the lines, the white lines? Yeah? See the white lines in the water? They're the light reflecting on the water, let's say, right? We're going to put them in first. So what we want is the white B pencil or the polychromo, same animal, right? Same animal. And what we're going to do is keep it in the right direction. So rather than squiggling all over the place, because that it doesn't work like that. Like the sun's hitting, and it's a mill pond. It's not a fast flowing river. Okay, so the lines are going that way, and what we're going to do is flick them out from the sides like that. Okay, and press quite hard. Don't be afraid to press hard. Not too hard so you break the pencil. Not that hard. Okay, so let's have a look. And these B pencils, let me see if I've got a piece of black paper so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right, there you go. So the thing about the B pencils, of course, is they work really well on coloured card as well because of their wax consistency. Right, we're ready to rock and roll then. Are we going to go for it? Now, what you've got to probably do, okay, and I will come in closer in a minute, but let's get this done first. What we've probably got to do is we've got to decide which part is the water. So let's work it out. Oh, look, see, I missed a bit there. The riverbank is that double line. That will tell you. So look, I missed a bit of water here. So that should be blue here as well, right? Ugh, not focusing, Grey. Right, so we'll start up here because the river obviously goes over the back here as well. So let's just, and what you've got to do, I was thinking about this when I was doing this earlier. I'm not saying go along a ruler. I'm not saying go along a ruler. Don't go along the ruler, that would look ridiculous. But use the ruler to know where you've gone. So, for example, if I'm in this area now, I'm not going along the ruler, but I'm going to flick that way and then maybe this way. And then I'll come down here and I'm in this area. So I'm not using I'm leaning on the ruler, but I'm not actually using the ruler. Yeah? So I'll come down that way, maybe come in a few on this side as well. Right? Don't actually use the ruler to do the job. I mean, you can squiggle a little bit as well. You know, maybe a fish, bit of activity. Let's do that. See, but what this does is it helps me isolate the area that I'm putting the ripples in. Let's call them the ripples, the resist ripples. Okay? And you're going to come through there like that. And now I'm coming through there like that. Right, good. Because if you don't do this, what I found was, it was quite hard to know where I'd already been and where I still needed to go. See, if you hold it to the light, when the light hits it, you can see it, can't you? Oh, here we go. Right, so it's coming out like that, see? So we're going to put a little bit along there. Like I say, don't draw along the ruler. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you to put some ripples in. So when the light hits it, you can see where the white is. Okay. That'll do. Don't get too caught up in it. It's just if you don't do this now, you can't put them in afterwards. We've done this before, you know. I reckon. So hold it to the light and see if you can see the lines. If you're happy with the way you've put them, have a look if you can see them on here. I don't know if you can. No, probably not. Maybe. They're there. Yeah. So I've got my white lines. More will be revealed when we add the blue now. So when I go up here a little bit further, I've got a light blue, number 16. See? So you've got the dark blue, number 4, but I'm going for the light blue, which is number 16. It's the right at the end of the, well, if your tin's in order, it's the last one in the box. Okay, so this time what we'll do is we'll make a, this is quite nice on dark as well, but we'll make a point. Have you got a sharpener or a sanding block? Yeah, because I just want to get a bit of a, that'll do. Don't want to waste so much of the pencil. Right, that'll do. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back over, get a flat part, that's it, get a flat piece. Okay, and put that out of the way for a minute. And then I'm deliberately staying out a little way so you can see what we're doing now. So you're going to go back over the white, but flick it again with the blue like this. Let's come in tight now so you can see. I'm flicking it with the back, with the flat of the pencil, and you can see as I flick over the top like this, always from one bank like that. I can go back over from the other bank if I choose, but you can see now where the scribbles are, the resist, yeah? B pencils. They rock. The harder I press, the whiter that will get and the darker the blue will get. Let's have a look. See the resist? Very light. It's almost like it's like when we used to do etching. So you can just take your flat and just go over there and introduce some blue into the water now. And you'll see, the reason we're doing this lightly is because if you wanted to still add a little bit of white, you could probably still get away with it. Let's just add a bit of blue though. Yeah, nice. Look, see, you can see where the lines are. That's it. I missed a bit. Did I put any down there? Chisel. Everybody happy? Cool, I enjoyed the old, I enjoyed our craft along on Wednesday night. I really did. I thought that went ever so well. The house that Barb built. Wasn't that a fun session? Went on a little bit, but cool, your artwork was fabulous. What you loaded onto Facebook Live, really brilliant, you know. It's great. The fact that there were over 200 of us for 1.5 hours, hanging out together, crafting together. I mean, that's a lot of folks, you know. That's a lot of collective creativity there in one room, people. Isn't it? See? So you can see where I did a little squiggle. That's where the trout is. Right. So just, you can see now how you get that resist. Yeah, easy. So let's look at that and let's look at that. The only difference really is colour. There's a lot of difference in the colour, isn't there? And obviously the Riverbank I've come in. So it's step work. It's a process, isn't it? It's what colour goes next. What do you do next? So I would say you take the same pencil and now let's add a little bit of depth. So you're going to flick the same as you did with the white one, just here and there. Okay, there's a method in my madness here. See, and as you flick, you'll see you get like strips of darkness, just like it would be on water. You get shadow, see, because then you catch the white. You get it? You just come along here and then just flick out. So you're flicking, flick, flick, like that. Flick through. I think it's not a bad idea to have 2 of these, you know, and 2 of the examples. So I've always got 2 on the go or 3 on the go because of course I'm a bus driver, so I'm always a little bit ahead of you on the bus, aren't I? And I have to practice to know what to tell you to do. But in reality, that's actually good for anybody. So you can practice on a piece. You can practice on a bit of scrap as well. You don't have to. But I always think in situ, like improper, it looks. You can see then. Oh, do I like that? Do I want to change that? Should I have done a different colour? You know, depends. I mean, in the end, we're just hanging out together, aren't we? Don't matter what we do, as long as we hang out together and stay safe, happy, and creative. Because that's what the SHAC is. It's just yoga for the mind. There you go. So we've put the blue down, and it still doesn't look like that though, does it? No, it doesn't. So what we'll do now is we'll add a bit, but see the green part that comes in later. So we don't want to do that quite yet. But what we want to do now is add some water. Since it's water, shall we add some water? And then that can be drying while we're sorting out the grass. Right, so enter the A pencils. Let's go to these ones. Now, out we come. We can do this. Oh, hello. Sorry. Right, come out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to the A pencils, the other part of the box. And what we'll do is, let's move this over because I'm a lefty. All right, like that. What we need now is, I think it's a good idea to see how they work, how the pencils behave when you use B pencils and A pencils. Because, you know, This is actually, I mean, bearing in mind, these pencils were designed for parchers, and the whole idea with parchment was to lay down the oily wax sealed colour, and then, because parchment doesn't like water, then you could go over the top with your watercolours, you see, with a little tiny brush. So that's why you've got the two different sorts in a box. I mean, I personally, for me, for a paper crafter like I am, first, like card maker, paper art, these are brilliant because you can mix and match them. I've got the best of both worlds. But let me just show you how we're going to change this now, because obviously we've got white resist, we've got white paper. Now let's stain it. If I take my mix mat and I go to my blue one, A5, let's go to the blue one, yeah, water mat, and I'm just going to scribble out some water blue on there, yeah. Now this is where I can change the tone if I choose to, but let's just see what happens if I only use let's just add a little bit of water with the blue. So if I'll take one of my water brushes. There you go. Let's take a water brush. This one's already got, this green won't make a blind bit of difference, okay? Now this is something that I figured out. If you're working with the B pencils and the A pencils and the B pencils and the A pencils, you will eventually, I did it, it happens, you pick up a B pencil, you scribble it onto your mix mat, and then you go to add water and it doesn't dissolve, and then you'll know immediately, that was a B pencil, because they look exactly the same. When I add the water to it, you'll know it immediately, look, it just dissolves, okay? They're water soluble. Watercolor. Okay, very different animal. If that does happen and you scribble on it, I did it this morning because I ended up with a pile of pencils, A pencils and B pencils. I wasn't disciplined. And of course, I went straight into my B pencil. I mean, what's the difference? Do you know what I mean? Help me out here. Apart from the writing, and I was caught up in the moment, and that's why, if that's what happens, look, that's why I've got this handy. Then all I do is just put a little bit of this, or thinners, this is the gear, just put a little bit of that on and it will come off. It comes off immediately. Let me show you. If I take my B pencil and I do that, right, and then I go to put water to it, let's take a water brush, right, add a bit of water, nothing, not going to move, not happening. Can you see that? No chance. Right, all it does is just get all gritty and horrible, right? So if that happens, fear not, wipe away the water. It's not going to come away though because it's oily. So what we need is something to shift it. And this blending solution does the job. I think thinners is the same gear. Okay, let's have a look. But I've got this in the cupboard, I haven't got thinner. Right, and then when you take that away, see, it's quite a, because I pressed hard, it takes a little while, let it to soak in, but that'll bring it off, look, yeah? So you haven't wrecked your water mixing mat, you just need something to remove it. Right, so water soluble, are we all right with this? Now what we want to do though, is we don't want to put blue over the top, because otherwise we might as well have just painted it blue to start with. So what we want is a wash. So get your loo roll, or tissue, sorry, Barbara Grey. Get a bit of tissue ready, just in case it's too dark and you want to blot it. Put that there. And what we'll do is, we'll put a real light blue wash down. Because then, when we do this, and we put the water down, we'll do it in sections. So we'll do, for example, the bit between that branch and that branch, right? So let's just do this. So we'll add a little bit of that watery blue, very, very watery blue, like water basically with a bit of stain. And then we'll see, right, so we're adding a bit of blue over the top, okay? Squeeze a bit more water if it's a bit too, that'll do. See, it's just a wash. It's a wash. So in art speak, we're just putting down what we would call a glaze. So this will make the card, this is the same as our stencil card. So this will help the card receive watercolour more easily. So you can see when you put it down, just wash it through, yeah, And we've got ourselves a nice glaze now in that area. Let's just do one area at a time. Right up there as well. So you can see it's got water. Of course, it's quite porous. Now we've got that, the colours will move better. So if I go now, if I take a bit more blue, let me take a bit more blue. Let's make it a bit thicker. Let's just see what happens. And what I'll do is, because I've got my yellow pencils and my green and all these colours here, let's take another colour. I don't know if I want to go yellow. Let's see, this is quite a good colour. Is that? No, not really. That's a B pencil, you donut. Water, see, because do you know? I just said don't do that, then I've done it. Right, so this one, A, aqua, A14. That's because I did that to show you. Never mind. Right, so now I'm taking that colour, which is the A14, which is like a pine forest green. Okay, this is where we change the colour. Just a tiny little amount of that. Look, beautiful. Sea green. Right, now we're cooking with gas. And now what we'll do is we'll pop that, we'll come back over the top with that colour and then just sweep that in. And that will change the overall tone. See how it's changing it? It just changes the overall tone of the water. So it's not so blue. There you go. Just sweep it through like that, wherever you want it to sit. And it will, see, that's it stains whatever's left of the card, what isn't exposed. There you go. Nice. Right, so now we need a bit more of the blue. Boom, 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 boom. So blue. Don't get too caught up with it, but let's do the next bit. This bit here. Right, so we'll just take a bit of the lighter blue, then we'll sweep that through here. So we're making our glaze in this area. I find it easier to just work in areas, right? So we'll do our glaze. Right, we've got our blue down, our watery blue, and then we'll go in with that green and just add that. Lovely. Just over the top like that. We'll add a bit of depth, don't you worry. We'll come in and add a bit more depth afterwards, but you've got to kind of take it in, you've got to let it dry in between layers, otherwise the paper just goes crunchy. It just goes all bobbly, okay? So you can see exactly what we've done and what we haven't done yet. So let's take some, it's quick, isn't it, this? But what's important, the only thing to bear in mind when you're doing something like this is to put the resist down first, because you can't do it afterwards. You can't do that afterwards. Won't work. Right, there you go. Put that in, and then we're going to go in with our greener colour. You can change the colour as you go. There we're coming down the front. Maybe leave a bit of white. Like that. I've got that little bit over the back there. Come on then. It's a bit darker. So just pop some in there, so then you get some sort of flow. Hey? Are we enjoying this? There. See, so now that can dry. I wonder if I add a little bit. I like this colour. See what happens if I just add a little bit more depth up there. Just a little flash. See, we ought to weight grey, really, oughtn't we? Yes, Mum. Right, so that's got to dry. Can always use your tissue to blot it. You can speed dry it too if you're in a hurry with a hairdryer or a craft knife. What do they call them? Heat gun. There we are. So that's looking good. And still, it's different to this one, but that's because we haven't come in with the reflection off the grass and that yet. We're still on the pure water. So that's good to know that we can change it again. This is definitely the same sequence as I did up here. Okay? Interesting. Right. So what we're going to do now, good practice, good practice. I'm going to put my pencil back in the right box, in the right look, I'm just keeping them all in the right order so that I don't have it's so easy to dive into the B pencil when you want the A pencil. So it's always just intelligent, I've found eventually, to put them in the right order. Okay, excellent. Right, so now that's going to dry. So what I'll do is, I want to go to the darker colours now. So we don't need to waste this wash. We can put that to one side. While that's drying now, we can have a look at the grass. So the grass, let's take a look, because it's like the trees. You remember, just hold fire a moment, let it focus. Let it just, is it focusing? Come on. There you go. So when we look at the trees, you remember how we did all those speckles like dash, 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 dash. And to begin with, it looked like absolute rubbish, didn't it? Well, have a look over here, because you'll see exactly the same thing. Yeah. This is how I did the grass. By the tree here and underneath and right up to the riverbank. But I've done it in stages. I stopped so that you could see where you go first. So you take your yellow B pencil, it's the resist thing again, and you use a yellow, and then we go down a colour. Well, I think I even used a bit of white. But this time, instead of using the resist trick going this way like we have with the water, we're just making little flecks. And if you look, you think, oh, blimey, that looks a bit rough. But then have a look. This is what it looks like to begin with. Then we add another colour, and then by the time we get to where we're going, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous, right? So this isn't finished either. This side of the bank is finished. This side is finished. Okay? And the best thing, the biggest to me as well, the other difference between the B pencils and the A pencils in the pergolized. Have we got a special offer on these at the moment, Paul? If we haven't, we ought to. It's a bit late. Anyway, the B pencils, because they're oily, you can get that resist technique. That's the thing, right? Now the A pencils, the thing about them is because they're watercolor, we know now that they're water soluble, right? So that goes without saying too. And you can use them both to color dry. That's no problem. But one reacts to water and one doesn't. That's for sure. Now, when you look at these here, right, what you'll see is one of the best things about the B pencils is that if I do something and I don't like it, I can take my eraser, my pink rubber, my pink eraser pencil, and I can just rub it all out. If I don't like what I've done here, let's say I actually do like it, but if I didn't like it, I could go in there and just eliminate it. Look, it's gone. You see? Just rub it out. So you can't really overcook it. You know, if you don't like what you've done, then you just rub it out. Or you step away and you think, oh, it went way too dark. Then you take your eraser pencil, and then it's a great blending tool. This is a great blending tool as well, but it lifts colour out at the same time. And so you've got a combination of tricks and techniques here. But let's have a look first of all. Now we're going to go to the yellow, and we're going to go to the B. We're up in the B area again. So let's just cover up the A pencils. Yeah. And we'll go to our yellow one. So just check before you start, it's the yellow one. If you're using polychromos, then they're all like this. This is what you got. Right, so what we want to do now, and these little flicks, let's have a look. Let's take this piece of paper so you can see what I'm up to. They're just little flicks like that. I've sharpened it well, right? And we're just going to go little flick. Further away, smaller flick. Further forward, not that big, but that really would be overgrown. But so start at the back, and then let's work our way this way. So we're going to make tiny little flicks with the yellow, always pointing upwards. And it's like little that way and then that way. So it's like that and then that. This is exaggerated, like that and like that, right? And then like that and 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 like that. That's what we're doing. Just random little flicks, working our way down the page. Yeah? Except we're doing it in miniature. So you do it tiny, right? And then we'll come back up here because we've got the same thing going on over here. So everything that's Riverbank now, you're going to make these little yellow flecks. Okay, there we go. Just flick, 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 up, 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 up. Flick, 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 flick. As you come closer to the base, it's okay to flick a bit larger, okay, because these are, it's obvious, front of the picture, yeah? Here we go, flick, 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 all between the trees and the bird. Right, so you've got your flicking going on here. Let's just do one side of the bank. You can always do that for homework, can't you? Do that bit and that tree and that over the weekend. So now we're going. That's that yellow we've used. Right, go back in your B pencils. We'll put that to one side because we'll come back to that. Go back in your B pencils, and now we'll go to this green, B7. So we're going to go move down to the next colour, darker if you like. So we'll go to the next colour. Start at the top again, then off we go again. Little flicks. Some of them will hit the yellow, and there will be a resist. Some of them will hit the white next to it. Some of them will cross over. Just keep going. The object of the exercise is not to fill the area with the green. It's just to make these little flecks, and it looks ropey until it's done. Okay, so don't give it a second thought. Right, there you go. And if your pencil gets a little bit blunt, or it feels like it needs sharpening, just flick it round and there'll be a sharper side. Just turn the pencil and you'll see the nib is sharper on the other side. Right, there you go. So while we're doing this, what am I going to tell you? Right, okay, yeah, moment of clarity. Let's have a look what else is on offer this next week. So after the SHAC, we're going to have another free groovy download for you, Digi download, created by a lovely Hazel for us. Okay, so I think we've got a couple more. We're going to do a whole year of these. So I think this is one of the last. This is like the penultimate one, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, right. So Hazel's been keeping us company for a year, and I think, you know, it's a lot of work for her, and yeah, so a year's worth is good. Right, that looks nice. Very, very meadowy, that one, isn't it? So that's going to be sent out to anybody. See, if you subscribe to our newsletter, then you automatically get these things. So you might want to consider doing that. Right, B15. B15, that's the... This is drying nicely, good. B15, that's that nice olive colour that I like so much. I love this colour. Right, so then back up to the top again, and off we go again, back through, and you'll see there's less and less white area to fill now, but it's not your job to fill it. Just go, don't worry about it. This is random. This will work. Trust me, it'll work. Right, you just go through there, up here, just little flecks. In a minute we're going to get near the water's edge. That's when it gets really cool. Right, fleck, fleck, fleck. I think one of the things about this particular exercise, if you like, or learning trick, is it teaches us not to judge our work while we're doing it. You know, you can't, if you're making a cake, not that I'm a baker, but if you're making a cake, you can't judge the cake until it's finished, can you? You can't actually taste, until you taste it. It might look beautiful and taste like rubber. And it's the same with this. You don't be judging your work until it's finished. And then don't be judging it. Just step back and go, right, now next time, what can I do differently? If I don't like it like this, what can I do to improve it in my eyes, you know? Right, so now we've added a little bit of the olive green. So we're changing the colour, the overall colour of the... See how it catches? So when you go across, like on these big ones, with the dark green now, what's happening is it's resisting. It's resisting. The yellow resists the light green resists the... So what you're ending up with is like shadows, and you could go back in now, add a few more yellows if you want it to be brighter. If you want it to be bright, or not lighter than this, then go back in with another load of yellow, right? Go back in with another load of green. It's your call what colour tone you want to use. Now the reason mine is sort of bluey green in the background, I was just being arty, and I thought, oh, it'd be nice to kind of tone it in. And I think I went with, did I go with the B6? Yeah, that evergreen one. And then I went back over the top, but really, really gently now. Look, like that. Just as if I was, yeah, see? And that's when I changed the colour. Because what I did was, just gently, I rubbed over the top. And then any paper or card that was still left exposed, white, it just picks up this colour, yeah? So you end up with, it's quite cool. It's like catching a shadow with it, see? See what I've done? Right. So wherever I didn't put yellow or green, or this colour will just gently, not too dark. I can always add it, but I can't take it away. Well, no, rubbish, I can. See how it's changing colour, and it tones it down now, doesn't it? Isn't that nice? So I've used a green to get that real nice. I like that. You get it? And you can use this one is the one that will catch. There's a bit of shadow, a bit of depth around here. So it's interesting how you can, with a process like that, how you can change it, isn't it? Look more like a jungle. No, Gray, it's not a jungle. Right, there you go. It's working, isn't it? Got it? Yeah, so then the next thing is, we've done those ones. Now let's have a look at the riverbank itself. Now I am going to break into some of these warm greys and the greys, the polychromos, right? And I'm just going to take my warm grey just to neutralise this edge here. And along we go along here, just to kind of take it down a bit, because it's a little bit cartoony, isn't it? Right, so we'll just take that edge down a little bit, like that. Right, so we've toned down the edge. That'll do. And then, right, let's have a think for a minute. Let's have a break. Let's have a break. Let's have a Kit Kat. So I've got to still do a little bit of the water stuff, but I want to do a bit more. Right, I'm going to do some reflection stuff going on now. So what happens when we take the green, right, and we bring it into the water? Because don't forget, you would get a bit of a reflection. And we're doing, this is dry now. So what we're going to do now is take the B pencil and flash it over the top of the water. See, over the watercolour pencil. So we're just adding that tone now. See, we're changing it. Just add a bit of... So we're doing exactly what we did before, but we're adding... Because this is going to be the reflection, isn't it? It is never going to be pristine. So you can use the same colours as you used in the grass in the water. Just along here a bit, right? That'll do. We can always come back to it. Now the next thing we want to do, we want to pick up our browns and our greys. So I'm going to go in, right, if you haven't got the greys and you've only got the pergoliners, go to the B and go to the 3, B3. Like, this is dark brown. And what we'll do now, we'll put some bulrushes. Let's call them bulrushes. And then you'll get it. I'm just going to... Do I want to sharpen this? Let's have a look. Right, sharpen that. Get a nice tip going. That's it. Right, lightly does it with this one. So before we do anything, let's just go along the riverbank and just change the colour. Just tiny little bit. And just go... like cut across like this, like zigzagging. Go that way and that way, just zigzagging lightly. Okay, see? So you're just breaking that edge a little bit. Now, for example, as you come along, might be a bit darker there, a bit of light there, maybe not so much. Because if you actually are walking along a riverbank, you can't very well see this side. You can't. It's always covered in, isn't it? It's usually covered in grasses and where the water rats all hang out. Hey, ratty. Oh, that was the first book my dad ever bought me. Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. That was the first book that Dad ever got me. I love it. Okay, so you see how you're going along here and you think, right, there's a little bit of shadow along there, a bit darker along there, a bit lighter there. We'll just catch a bit of light on that one. There you are. See? So it's starting to get a bit more of a feel to it now. Yeah, got that? Okay. Let's go in a bit closer so you can see what I'm up to. You're building it, it's a building game. Right, so now we're coming along here and we're just kissing that edge. Got it? Just along there. Can you see that okay? Right, now what we want to do, let's take a look at the one that I've already done. Now we're going to do the bulrushes and the flicking. But before we do that, we've got to decide, let's have a look. We've got to decide whether we've done enough. Because once you introduce these bits, the bulrushes, you can't tone this. It's quite difficult to blend this in. If you wanted to blend this in, you've got two things you could do. You could either, if you think it's too bright or too garish, you can take your eraser pencil now and just tone this colour down, right? So this will tone down now, right? So you can do that along there with a rubber. You could take your blending nibs as well, you know, these ones, and go along and you just tone it down a little bit so it's not so in your face, right? You got to do this before you start putting in the rushes. Now you've got choices. You can go greens or browns or both. My suggestion is that we do a bit of green just because it's less. That's it. Right, so let's just do a couple of green ones. So just to practice. So you rest on the bottom part and you flick and just go like that. Just flick. Like that. Just flick. Try not to go in front of the branch because that wouldn't make any sense at all, Gray, would it? No, wouldn't, Mum. Right. So we'll take the colour out of there. That's why we're using B pencils. I think you can you rub out an A pencil? Let me just check if it hasn't had water added to it. Let me just check something. I'm going to do it for you. If that's an A pencil, can I rub it out before I? Well, there's your answer. Not easily. Okay, so sticking with the B pencils, right, we're going to add a few rushes. Here we go. Right, just along here, flick, 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 flick. Just tones it down a bit. Which one am I on? Yeah, that's it. Right, okay. Nice. Okay, and then we'll take our brown one. And then we're going to, this is where you flick and you could come into the water now. So you flick that way, see? So you flick along there and you make, there you go, brushes. And then when it comes to the water side, where there's a rush, bulrush, I'm saying, then what colour have I got here? Let's use a lighter colour in the water. So I'm using B12, for example, just to kind of create a reflection. There, now it's starting to work, you see? So you keep bringing the colour in over the water stain. It comes out really nice, look. Just see how it's changing the colour along here? Right, there you go. So you just change that depth. So you've got some lovely blues there, but you've also got those lovely, you've got the greens coming through and the dark and the brown. And the brown, if you want to get a grayscale, you can use your dark grey pencils as well. Just change it up a little bit. Try and avoid going into the areas that are in the front, because it just doesn't stack up. It doesn't make any sense to go over the top of a leaf that's half a mile up the road. Okay? So you could take your play it safe grey, and you can always tone everything down, because that's what it does, doesn't it? It just gives everything that kind of muted, like photoshopped look. There you go. Just tone it down with that one. And then I'm going to use, what have I got here? A couple of greys, cold grey 4, cold grey 6. I've got loads of greys going on here. I love the greys from Polychromos. They're the best pencils. Right, so we just add a little bit of grey in there. See, and that will change it again. So you get your, I like the dark one best. This is certainly a busier bank than the one I had before. See, I went dark and dramatic along here. Do you see? But that doesn't matter. Just go dark and dramatic along here now. Right, here we go. And if you want them to be bulrushes, then all you've got to do, let's do a couple down here. This is behind the tree now. So we're going to go, right, a couple of bulrushes there. And then what you're doing is just putting tops on them like that. Just little, so you do that. And then you put a top on it, like a bulrush. There you go. Just make little blobs at the top. Don't get caught up in it. This is not about the detail. The detail's in the birds. This is the background, you know. So you could just put a couple of little blobs, bit of interest. This is where I got carried away and I did a little bit of stippling, because there's a little bit of pollen in the air and birds and ticks and all sorts. Not ticks. Not ticks. What they call midges. Ticks. See? So you add a little bit of life, a little bit of movement over the top. And all the time, what you're trying to do is, if you like, you're almost trying to camouflage that riverbank. So in the end, by the time you're finished, you will almost not see those two lines. See how they're almost disappeared? Because I've darkened it and I've darkened it and I've darkened it, because that would be the truth of it. You wouldn't see all that. So you can just blend the colours in. And then if you wanted to go back in with your water stain, then you can. See, so you can zoom in up. Now this is where you want to take these ones, again, take these pencils. So you take your B pencils. I would put them back in the box so that they don't, yeah, so you don't confuse them with the A pencils. I'll put them there for the minute. Yeah. And then let's see if I take an A pencil. There's that really nice green one. Let's have a look. It's a sea greeny colour. See, there are two that are quite similar. There's that one, and then there's this one. Let's just check. See, that one's not sea green. So the one we're looking for, always check first, is A14. Okay, A14's cool. So if we take some A14 again, just add a little bit of that, A14, and then I'm going to take some of that A5 as well, just in case I need a bit of blue too. And then when I'm happy, like just to finish, and you know, you could add a tiny little smidgen of Perfect Pearls. If you wanted a shimmer on the water, then you just add a little tiny dash of that in there as well. And then when that dries, let's do it. Let's do that thing. So we're going to take a brush. Okay, we'll add a little tiny, not loads. I don't want to make it too much. So we add the water to it. Give it a chance to dissolve. Okay. So we've got this is a real good learning curve in mixing up your media, you know. So you've got your mica powders there. So you dissolve that first, right, until all the little granules are gone. Perfect. Right, so there's got a little bit of that will have a shimmer on it now. Now I can, because it's blue anyway, I could take a little bit of that green from the watercolour pencil, and I can change the colour of the mica powder wash. Do you see? If I think it's too dark, then I can add a bit more water to it. You see? And then if I want to, I can tone this right down. Let's see what happens. Where's my tissue? Yeah. And then I'm going to go from the top now, and with my mica powder wash, I can come right through here, and it will dry lighter, and it will dry with a shimmer. Okay. And you just come through and add another layer. So that's quite dark now, but I'm pushing it through that side, then I'm flicking it there. This is going to look so, see what I'm doing? So you picked up quite a bit there, and I'm just going to drop that in there and let that dry. So as it comes to the bottom here, we've got a bit more shadow. See? And then on this side, because I'm only concentrating on the one side. That's a little bit too much for that little area, Barbara. Right, see, then you just drag it through there, and that's how you're going to get your depth, because, and when it dries, it will have a shimmer, which I love. I love that idea that the water's actually got a bit of a glisten to it. There, see? And, yeah, nice, eh? So that's, my friends, that's how we do the landscape. And the sky is the light watercolour I would take, just so that you can finish this over the weekend. Take the blue, I've got the blue there already, the A pencil, add a goodly amount of water so that it's not too, that's a bit green, isn't it, grey? That'll do. Right, and then, well, hey, and then what we'll do is we'll add a wash, you know, like we've done before. Just add a little wash like that. And this is where, if you wanted to add clouds, you know, you've just add a little touch of white B pencil where you want the clouds. And it all kind of works when you start to figure it out. What you'd need to know though is that this will dry lighter than it is on the page at the moment, you see? So I've got, if I'm just going to do this area here, it's going to dry lighter than that. But I do, if I'm going to use that colour there, then I should really, let me just get, you don't want stripes really, so then you're just going to put a glaze down or a layer of water, just a thin layer of water first, and then that will help when you put the sky colour in. It will just move easily, okay? So there you go. And if you want it darker at the top, this is how it goes. So just these water pens, the water brushes are excellent for this really, because they just move the colour around. And when you've done one generation of colour, let it dry, and then you can go back in and add another layer of blueness if you want it a bit darker. See, I'm just going in the top areas because I probably don't want it to be, I want it to be darker at the top and lighter as it gets down into this area. You see? But you can see how quickly and efficiently you can just add a little water. It's a water wash, isn't it? It's a stain almost. There you go. So there we are, the Kingfishers have it. And all along the riverbank, I think I really like doing the bulrushes and just adding. I think it's all about learning the difference between A pencils and B pencils. You know, once you get that down and you figure out which pencils work together, and you do the resist with the lighter colours. I mean, it does really work well, you know. Now, what I want to do, just for the last 5 minutes, if you're cool with this, I just want to tell you about the next craft along, because I'm going to show you a set of stamps, a formidable set of stamps that we want to, because the craft along is, the moment of clarity is something different, isn't it? What we do with the moment of clarity is this is where we we pretend we're at the exhibitions and we present you with a really cool set of stamps, for example, or masks. Do you remember we did the reflection masks? So I've got this superb set of butterfly stamps that I want to show you. And then because what's happening is it's evolving into a bit of a craft along. And so if, for example, I show them to you today, then that means that if you purchase them today, like quickly, then we can get them out to you. And then next Friday, which I think is the 23rd of April, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, then when you get to the 23rd of April at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I shall present a moment of clarity and we'll pretend we're at the NEC or at Ali Pali or one of the big shows, and then we'll work together, and I want to show you some tricks. So let me show you what it is you need for the craft along, and then I can see what we're going to do. And Paul says he's going to take. Yes, do it, Paul. Do that on the pergoliners, please. Thank you. So what we want to do is show you the stamps and show you what I want to. There's a couple of tricks, you know, because that's the thing about the craft along and about the moment of clarity. We sell you, we present you with the set, we sell you a collection of stamps, but then we show you how to use them, all right? So this is rather special. Let me show you these butterflies. And you say, oh, I've got so many butterflies. Do you know, I showed these to a girlfriend of mine, and she said, I've got to have those. And I said, how many butterflies have you got in your cupboard? She said, yeah, but I haven't got these. Typical. Right, have a look at these. Absolutely, like, boom. Okay, I know. Oh my word, look at that. Right, cherry green at her very best. So what we've got here is butterflies like I've never seen before, all right? And I know we've all got a lot of butterflies, but we haven't got these butterflies, okay? And here they are in black and white, so you can see them, how they print out. So for colouring, these are absolutely spectacular. All right, there's a special price on them if you get both sets, which I would certainly recommend. You've got larger ones here, you've got smaller ones on this set. Let's have another look. What also, you may recognise them. Remember when we were sending you out this postcard, Have a Wonderful Day, and it ended up being one of our most popular postcards. Well, check it out, look. See, now you know where they came from, these little butterflies. Isn't that beautiful? So there's a set of butterflies, right? Let me show you. Butterflies. And they come with your coloured inserts. So you get your inspiration sheets with it. They also come with the vital masks. So you're going to get your masks as well as the inserts and the... And I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit silly-telly, but this is what we've got to. I've got to show you what I'm going to be working on next Friday at 3 o'clock. So what we want to do, I've been thinking about a couple of little tricks, because we're building our skill set as well, aren't we? So those are, in my opinion, some of the most beautiful, magnificent butterflies I have ever seen. Okay. And let's see, how many have we got here? Just to recap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you've got 6 on there, 7, that's 13 butterflies. Superb. Okay, so get those, and then next Friday we're going to stamp along. What we're going to obviously do, and that's why I'm asking Paul respectfully and kindly and to quickly change the, please, if you would, that'd be great, Paul. If you could do that quickly, change that, that would be super. And then, because we need those, we need the pergoliners or the polychromos if you have them to do one of the jobs. And the other thing that I wanted to show you was this, and it's something that it's like, it's the bridge between parchment art and our kind of art, colouring art. And there is a massive overlap. I know within our community, a lot of us are parchers and card makers, like inky people. So I know better than most people how the overlap of these two is. And the designer parchment is one of the most beautiful things that we've ever come up with. So I want to show you, let me just show you the parchments. So you've got the same as the designer papers, but they're parchment. So for example, we've got loads of different ones. We've got Indian Summer, Shenandoah, Rainbow River, Northern Lights, Toscana, Waimea Falls. So these are the different collections of parchment that we've got, and they're exactly the same as the paper, but they're parchment. That completely changes the game. So for example, if we take Indian Summer, you'll see parchment is a paper, it's parchment paper. I've put a bit of white behind it so you can see it. Parchment is a paper, but it's translucent. It's see-through. It lets the light through. You can see where the white paper's coming through it. It's got some superb properties. So what I want to show you is, let me show you something. If I take a piece of copy paper, this is a quick demo, but it's because I want you to treat yourself, not just to the butterflies, but to one of the paper pads, one of the parchment paper pads. If I take a butterfly, let me take the big one. So I've mounted it. I'm going to show you a little demo. Right, and if I take this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it together, but I've got to show you why you need the parchment. I can't ask you to just buy it and then say, more will be revealed. Okay, if I stamp this beautiful butterfly now in black on a bit of copy paper. Okay, right, there you go. Perfect. So this one is that one there. Okay, that's that one there. So of course we know we can colour it in, look, and we've got the guide, actual size, look, boom. So we know how to colour it in. But let's pretend we take a piece of our parchment, designer parchment. I designed this myself. This is an Indian Summer one. Waimea Falls is beautiful. Waimea Falls, Toscana. This is the Indian Summer one. Now you can use any of these, okay? If I put my work over the top of that, look, I can see through it. So that means, first of all, I can decide where to stamp it. You'll notice that it's shiny on one side and it's matte on the other side. So it's flooded on only one side. So let's say I take my stamp and I stamp it with the black archival ink pad. Okay, same ink pad as we use on card. I decide where I want to put it, where I want to set my butterfly. See, and this is it. I've got my template in the background. So I want to pop it, let's say I want to pop it there. Okay, nice. You will be astounded at it's a paper. You've got to get over this parchment is for parchers. It's not, it's a paper. So if I stamp this butterfly on the front, on the dull side, all right, stamp this one on here. Okay. Perfect. So now I've stamped her on there. Yeah. Now I want to show you something because she's only this way round. But wouldn't it be great if I could turn this around and stamp her in reflection? You see, in reflection on this side. So I've got one on one side and one on the other side. Right. And that is what I want to show you. So I'm going to fast forward because I've already done it and I've done a little bit of work to it. But look. So I'll take that clean piece. So I've got two butterflies, right? Look, and they both look identical. And yet they're in reverse on parchment paper. And we haven't even started the games, the other parchment games. So if you're a parcher, fantastic, you've got a black mat, we put together a kit for non-parchers, so you don't have to invest in all the groovy stuff. All you need is a mat, a soft mat to do the embossing and the tools. So I think Paul will give you the link. If you're interested in joining me for the craft along, there's a soft mat with, it's hard for colouring on one side and soft on the other. You've got the tools. you've got an eraser pencil, and the only other thing that you are going to need is the micron pens. So if you fancy having a go with me and learning how to, you know, just have a craft along with some phenomenal, beautiful butterfly stamps illustrated by Cherry Green. There's a pair of them, great price, great introductory price so that you could craft along with us. I think if I'm not mistaken, they're like, each of them are like £20 each. And I think we said, I can't remember now. Have a look on the website. Paul will give you the link, but it works out, if you're a club member, if you're a Diamond Club member, I think you only pay like 25 quid for both pairs, and that's with all the masks and the colour inserts, la. So do me a favour, get your order in quickly so that we can get it out to you so that we can all craft along together next Friday. There we go. That was what I wanted to say. So hope you enjoyed our trip along the riverbank. I've really enjoyed doing the Kingfishers. I think they've been a real great learning curve as well. It's good to see how to do this watery effect and how to use the mica powders. Oh, and in case you were wondering, yeah, I can tell you before you even ask me, mica powders on parchment, beautiful. Okay, and there's a little bit of this bee pencil mica powder water thing going on, and that's what I'm going to teach you in the craft along and in the moment of clarity next Friday. So thank you very much for your company. Have a fabulous weekend and be safe. Thanks, Paul, for your help. I don't think I've forgotten to mention anything else. SHAC bus Monday 10 o'clock. Lots of love. Bye bye now.